Hi, this is Gail. Welcome to my channel. We talk about overcoming obstacles on Sunday nights, and tonight we're going to be talking about epilepsy. I was diagnosed with grand mal epilepsy as an adult. I'd had a head injury a couple years before due to an assault, but the doctors kept blaming my symptoms on stress. I was provided with a number of medications and they didn't help. To find out, I had a seizure disorder. Until then, I really didn't know what epilepsy was. It's a neurological condition, and in it, your brain's just kind of misfiring. Now, with me, I would have symptoms of a giant headache that felt like my head was being smashed by a jackhammer. I would fall, but I wouldn't remember falling. I just remember picking myself off the floor. I had bruises that I couldn't explain. My family said I would get confused. My family said I would stare off into space. But we really didn't know what was going on. And then when we had the abnormal EEG, which is how they test for seizure disorder, and it was positive, then all the pieces suddenly fit together. I did lose my license for 6 months because you can't drive if there's a chance that you're going to be blinking out sort of behind the wheel. During that 6 months, I learned a lot about epilepsy, about my condition, and how to handle it. I learned that my seizures are photosensitive, which means that they're triggered by strobes. So going any place that has strobes is a no-no. So concerts, movies that have strobes, even some rides at Walt Disney World, I can't do those because they might trigger a seizure. I also have to make sure that I take my medicine exactly as it's prescribed and on time. And I can't drive when I'm extra tired. I was diagnosed as an adult, but my daughter was diagnosed when she was 12. So let's hear from her.
Hi, my name is Ali Caldora. I was diagnosed when I was 12 with a type of epilepsy known as absence seizures. They're also known as petit mal seizures. But I have had some partial simple seizures as well, and that's where one part of my body will twitch uncontrollably. The absence seizures are more like the lights are on but nobody's home. I'm still conscious, but I won't necessarily respond to any sort of anything.
There was no family history to indicate epilepsy. Her teachers, doctor, and I all thought we were looking at her basic personality. Then we had her tested and found out she had epilepsy too. Epilepsy in children is easy to miss because the symptoms just look like normal childhood development. Wandering off, staring off into space, those kinds of things may be epilepsy, or it may be normal childhood. The bottom line is, if you think you need to see a doctor with your child, do so. Now, even if you have epilepsy, you can still achieve your dreams. After I got my driver's license back, I was able to drive my grandmother to Charleston, South Carolina from Tennessee. She'd never been, and she'd always wanted to go. That was a dream of hers. Then later, I realized another dream of mine by driving to Alaska from Tennessee. You can do things. So, Allie, what would you tell people who have a seizure disorder, who have epilepsy?
An achievement. I was always very interested in music. So when the doctor told me shortly after I was diagnosed that I would probably never be able to succeed in music and math, I just kinda...
She set out to prove them wrong. It's not always easy to reach for your dreams if you have a seizure disorder or any other health challenge. There's always a conflict there between what you want to do versus what you can do. And sometimes well-meaning people just don't understand, and that causes its own problems, as my daughter will tell you.
One of my more difficult moments would have been my freshman year of high school. The band had gone across the state for a band thing, and while we were there, I had a seizure. And the band director and the school principal let it go on for over an hour before they called my family. And my family and the doctor were both livid about that. And as a result, I was put on some pretty heavy restrictions. I couldn't carry my books, couldn't go up and down stairs, couldn't do gym class. And it made me feel like I stood out in all the wrong ways.
And when that happened, we went back to the action plan that we developed with the school. We fine-tuned it, and we made sure that it would never happen again to my daughter, and I will bet you it never happened again to another student either. With all of us working together, we were able to reassure her that she didn't stick out nearly as much as she thought she did. And I think that is part of overcoming epilepsy. I think that if you perceive that you can achieve, you will. So now what's the bottom line?
I would encourage anyone living with epilepsy to remember that they're more than their diagnosis. I mean, yes, it is something major that has to be dealt with, and certain adaptations have to be made. But you can still dream, you can still live, you can still do most of the things that you enjoy.
Some of the adaptations that she's talking about are common sense things like don't drive if you're tired, don't drink alcohol to excess. Let your family and friends that you trust know that you have epilepsy, so if something happens, they can get you help a little sooner. Have good communication with your doctor. Take your medicines like you're supposed to. And my doctor also told me not to go bouldering, rock climbing, or swimming by myself. So see, not all of the adaptations are that far out of the realm of possibility. I think the bottom line for me is stay positive. Look for what you can do. Consider what kind of adaptations you might need to make to achieve your dreams, and go for it. You won't regret trying, but you will regret not trying. So give it a shot. Talk to your doctor, do it safely, and let us know how it works out. So thanks for tuning in. We do Overcoming Obstacles on Sunday nights. I vlog on Mondays. There's Women's Wednesdays and Service Dog Q&A on Friday. Thanks for watching. I'm going to go check on Tomlin, and I'll see you out about and online. Bye. Oops. Hi, Tomlin. Bye. Uh-oh. Tomlin, go get the bottle. Get the bottle. Thank you. Good boy. Want me to throw it just for the fun of it? You're kidding, right? Well, why not? Okay, get the bottle. Thank you. Good boy.